The Galactic Council chamber was in utter chaos. A cacophony of voices, some deep and guttural, others high-pitched and chittering, filled the massive hall. Holographic projections of unread data scrolled through the air, warnings and reports flashing in multiple languages. The Grand Arbiter, a towering figure of iridescent blue scales, slammed a heavy limb against the council podium. The sound reverberated, demanding silence. Order. The Arbiter's voice boomed through the chamber. We must remain composed.
Composed?
That was impossible. Humanity, the unpredictable, rapidly advancing species that had reshaped the balance of power in less than a century, had just walked away. No threats. No ultimatums. No negotiations. One moment they were at the table, engaged in tense but necessary discussions, and the next, they were gone. A representative of the Volari, a spindly, translucent-skinned being known for its shrewd trading acumen, leaned forward. This cannot be allowed to stand. We have economic dependencies on human technology. If they withdraw trade is the least of our concerns, interrupted a hulking Sarthok general, his thick exoskeletal plates clinking as he moved. They were our strongest military allies. If they refuse to honor defense treaties, entire sectors will fall to piracy and rebellion. A nervous ripple moved through the assembled leaders. Humanity had not only integrated itself into galactic affairs, but had become a keystone. Their technology, unorthodox strategies, and stubborn refusal to conform had made them indispensable. The older species, arrogant in their ancient traditions, had underestimated them. Now they faced the consequences. A Zelnari envoy, her bioluminescent markings flickering in agitation, adjusted the sleek device at her temple. We have intelligence suggesting this was premeditated. The humans have been growing increasingly dissatisfied with the Council's oversight. They believe we are restricting them. And, the Arbiter challenged. And, she hesitated, perhaps they are right. Silence followed. No one was willing to admit it outright, but humanity had always chafed under the Council's policies. Trade restrictions, territorial limitations, bureaucratic red tape. Every law designed to curb their rapid expansion only seemed to make them push harder. The more the Council tried to contain them, the more unpredictable they became. A reptilian diplomat clicked his claws against the stone desk. What if they see this as an opportunity? A declaration of independence. Independence. The word itself sent a ripple of unease through the chamber. No species had ever voluntarily walked away from the Council. It was unthinkable. To refuse membership was to invite chaos, to risk war. But humans had done just that. The Arbiter exhaled, a slow, controlled effort to maintain composure. We must act. A delegation must be sent. We need answers before the situation escalates. And if they refuse to speak with us, someone asked. The Arbiter's expression darkened. Then we will have to face the terrifying possibility that humanity no longer needs us at all. The Council chamber was suffocating under the weight of uncertainty. Conversations overlapped in frantic bursts, desperation creeping into every voice. Representatives from every major species had gathered, yet not a single one had a solution. Humanity's withdrawal had shattered the fragile stability they had all taken for granted. A Volari trade official adjusted his breathing apparatus, his voice tight with strain. We're already seeing supply chain disruptions. Human-built components are essential for over half of our infrastructure projects. If they cut us off, they wouldn't dare, a Zelnari envoy interrupted, though the flickering glow along her bioluminescent markings betrayed her anxiety. They need us as much as we need them. A heavy silence followed. The statement sounded less certain now than it had days ago. Humanity had always adapted at an alarming rate. What if they had prepared for this? What if they had always known it would come to this? A deep rumble filled the chamber as a Sarthok general stood, mandibles clicking in agitation. This is more than economics. We're relied on human fleets to maintain order in the outer territories. Without them, pirate activity has already increased by 17%. Do you understand what that means? The frontier is collapsing. The Arbiter's normally unreadable expression was strained. They had spent decades convincing themselves that humanity was just another species to integrate, to guide, to contain. They had never stopped to consider what would happen if humans simply walked away. A reptilian diplomat drummed his claws against the stone desk, voice low. "We need to bring them back. Whatever it takes." The suggestion was met with murmurs of uneasy agreement.
But how?
Their usual tactics, economic pressure, diplomatic isolation, were useless. The humans had severed themselves cleanly, without hesitation. That alone was what frightened the council most. They ignored every attempt to reach them, a Valari official pointed out. "They're not just withdrawing. They're shutting us out." A Zelnari intelligence officer spoke up, her voice unusually hesitant. "We intercepted fragments of human communications. They aren't just leaving. They're reorganizing." The chamber went still. "They've been establishing independent alliances," she continued. "We've identified at least 6 species they've been in contact with, groups that have long held grievances against the Council." The weight of the revelation sank in. The Council had assumed humanity would struggle without them. Instead, they were watching humanity build something new, something outside their control. A cold dread settled over the room. For the first time in millennia, the Council was facing a power it could neither control nor predict. If humanity no longer needed them, then what happened when others realized they didn't need the Council either? The Arbiter spoke at last, voice heavy with realization. "We thought we were shaping the future. But now we may be witnessing the beginning of the Council's end."